Okay, hi guys. Welcome back to a new video on pitfalls and points to diagnose cytopathological slides basically. The last time the video that I uploaded was on inherited bone marrow failures, and thank you so much for all the love that you showed to that video. I got a few messages telling me that they found that video useful. Thank you so much. I also got a few messages where people told me that I should make more videos on approaches like the ones I made on approach to acute leukemia. Everyone liked that video a lot. So I'll keep that in mind from here on. And after maybe a couple of videos, once I, start with the malignant hematology and histopathology also, I will be, trying to structure my PowerPoints more as approaches as well as pitfall discussion. So in this one is a very short and sweet, like 5-10 minutes thing. I only have 7 slides because you might clinically encounter mediastinal tumors and a lot, but it is important even as a subject as practical exams me you're going to get slides, but it is short and sweet. Like you have to just remember how what parts the mediastinum is divided into, as well as what tumors come from which part of the mediastinum. Now, I have divided it these 7 slides as per the morphology of the kind of tumor that you are going to get on FNAC, rather than system or mediastinal location wise. Location I'm going to give you in the beginning. So as I go about the morphology, I will also try and verbally discuss with you the approach and what special tests we can do for each type of tumor. Okay, so moving on. Firstly, this is a bit of anatomy. You need to know, you all know in fact, since mostly this is helpful to the MD students. Also, I hope if some of the MBBS students are watching, they might find it helpful that the mediastinum is divided into 3 parts: the anterior, the middle, and the posterior, right? The visceral compartment here is probably the and in this image I've taken from the Google Images in the Science. There's an article on Science Direct actually. So the basic approach of learning mediastinal tumor is to first retain what structures are present in which part of the mediastinum. There are a lot of structures, you can't remember all of them, but you need to remember the important ones. Like in the anterior compartment, the first part, when you open, when you remove the skin and the fat, if you're giving nick to when you're giving an incision on the body, then the first part that of the mediastinum that will come in your contact is the anterior part of the mediastinum. And the common organs that you encounter, they are the thymus, the vessels, the mammary vessels, the lymph nodes, of course fat and connective tissue, then this part, the lower pole of the thyroid, this over here, this part, and then the ectopic parathyroid if it might be present. There are nerves, vessels, a lot of them. You need to just remember what are the important ones, so that you can remember, find this tumor. जब ये याद रहेगा that this organ is in this part, then of course the tumor of that organ will be in that part. Then if you go deeper in the middle part of the mediastinum, you're going to get the organs, that is the heart, the major vessels that come out of the heart. Then you are going to get the lungs, then the thoracic duct, the nerves, the vagus, the phrenic, and the recurrent nerves. Of course, remember, lymph nodes, vessels, and nerves are common in all the 3 chambers. The mediastinum has more of organs. Rather, okay, and the anterior has specific organs like thymus, lymph nodes. Of course, all the 3 compartments have, and the esophagus and the trachea branch goes and then goes inside the lungs, and the esophagus is running from here to up to down till the opening of the stomach. Okay, so these structures are the organs which are in the middle mediastinum. And then comes the posterior mediastinum. Again, remember that you are going to have the okay, when you're even if you imagine, jab aapne skin hataya, fat hataya, then you encounter the ribs. So in a way, the anterior part of the ribs form the boundary of the mediastinum. So the posterior part with the vertebral column will form the posterior boundary. Okay, and inside are the organs. So there's an anterior, mid, and posterior part. You can imagine it to be like like I don't know, a box maybe. Although box जैसा नहीं होता, it's more like a triangle like this. थोड़ा सा ट्रायंगुलर एंड देयर तीन पार्ट्स इधर ऑर्गन है अगेन यहाँ बोन्स है नर्व्स है गैंग्लिया है और ये पहला पार्ट है ये रिप्ट से पूरा सराउंडेड है एंड दिस इज द फर्स्ट पार्ट वेयर यू आर गोना गेट थाइमस एक्सेट्रा व्हिच इज इंपॉर्टेंट एज फार एज ट्यूमर्स ओके so in the posterior part you get vertebral bodies the rib the posterior edges of the rib the ganglia most important you might get lymph nodes some small lymph nodes and blood vessels. So approach to a small round blue cell tumor is that it is common in the pediatric population. B, if a person comes with to you, there is no specific clinical symptom of a small round blue cell tumor. The person might come with difficulty in breathing. A child will come to you with problems in breathing, weight loss, maybe some fever, malaise, lethargy. Then you and the and the oxygen saturation is maybe dropping. Then what you do, you get a chest X-ray. When you get a chest X-ray, you see some sort of a haziness in the chest X-ray, which you are not, or you might even get pleural effusion. You might get a collapse. You might get a mass outline. You go for MRI and CT, and there you diagnose that there is a mass over there. Except the small round blue cell to the carcinoid tumors of the lung, which also can be small round, and they can be of other types also morphologically. They present like a buttonhole tumor near the tracheal opening. They are like a button and very well demarcated in the center, in the midline of the X-ray. You're going to get that even in the CT. Apart from that, rest all tumors are vague, spreading masses. They might be inside the lung. They might be coming out of the pleura of the lung. They might be coming out of the pericardium and compressing the adjacent structures. So, except the carcinoid, which has a very specific appearance, if you go for approaches radiologically, then normally the squamous tumors are in the perihilar region, or they might have a cystic variegated appearance. More peripheral towards the pleura are the adenos and the mesotheliomas. Sometimes benign lesions like a sarcoid or an asbestosis or silicosis radiologically confuse you with a malignancy. Interstitial lung diseases also have such a bad, dirty lung picture that you might be confused with maybe a MET or a very highly progressive tumor. This is all radiological confusion. Pathologically, you won't get these confusions. You are only going to get morphological variations in the type of tumor. Like if I tell you that it is a thymoma versus a thymic carcinoma, you will be able to differentiate between the two morphologically. If I tell you that thymoma type A, AB, B1, 2, 3, you will easily differentiate between these. Small round blue cell tumors which are common in the mediastinal region can come from the lung, can come from the lymph node, can come from the nerve, that is the neuroblastoma. Then there are certain germ cell tumors that might have small round blue cells as a component, not the entire tumor. So you have to, if you're seeing a large area with small round blue cell, here comes the role of IHC. You need to put the entire IHC panel to see whether the tumor is neuroendocrine. Yeah, it is a P63 differentiation Hess tumor, means it's a variant of a squamous cell, or it is some sort of a mesothelioma with calretinin etc. is coming positive. So there comes the role of IHC, or it is a thymoma. Then in thymoma there are a panel of markers. For lymphoid tissue you put TDT. For the epithelial component you can put P63. So it is a step-by-step approach to diagnosing a tumor. So these are all the images of tumors. Either they are poorly differentiated areas with some small round blue cells, or they are completely like a carcinoid small round blue cell. This kind of picture can also occur in mesotheliomas. Epithelioid tumors sometimes look like confused with a small round blue cell. Here you see a squamoid module and all this inflammation, all these small round blue cells around it, not inflammation. Also, lung is a very common place for salivary gland tumors. So you might get adenoid cystic or a Wadden's. So you'll get a variation in morphology. Epithelioid spindle cells, see these epithelial cells might also look epithelioid to you. It is quite common. Fine. Then sarcomatoid cells, it is quite common for mesotheliomas to have a sarcomatoid component. For squamous cell carcinoma lung to also have a sarcomatoid component. SFTs in the lung, again mediastinal, can have sarcomatoid. These spindly cells can be there. Neural origin tumors can appear sarcomatoid. And compare this monophasic appearance with this biphasic appearance in mesothelioma. You get these papillary, some sort of a gland-like structure, and these sarcomatoid spindly structures. So there are only a few, like there's thymus, there is pleura, there is pericardium, there is heart, there is lung, there are ganglias, and if there are germ cell tumors. So you have to rotate in all these only and then make a diagnosis. So this is thymoma. Thymoma type AB will have both epithelial cystic spaces and epithelial as well as lymphoid. Sorry, this is type A, more of epithelial component, something like this. Then type AB will be a mixture of both epithelial and lymphoid. B1, B2, B3, this is normal thymus, this is the tumor over here. And then as you go from B1 to B3, the lymphoid component decreases and the epithelial component increases. The markers that we normally go for are P63, we can go for a TDT as far as the lymphoid component is concerned. We go for cytokeratin, and of course we have to look for Hassel's corpuscles to confirm that it is a thymus, which are morules which look like squamoid cells. Otherwise you can get these reactive germinal centers in a thymus, and a normal thymus will be nodular, will have fatty areas, nodular lymphoid with Hassel corpuscles, while a tumor will be more diffuse. You can get Hassel corpuscles, you might not get Hassel corpuscles. Okay. Lymphomas, DLBCLs, Hodgkin lymphomas has very common mediastinal presentation, so that will be arising from the lymph node. This can confuse you with poorly differentiated anything. So then again comes the approach of thinking, fit the age of the patient. बच्चों में lung carcinoma like squamous cell carcinoma is rare, so you can't diagnose a SCC in a child. You diagnose it in an adult. So correlate it with clinically, then you might get radiologically specific findings, and then you make your diagnosis by confirming it with IHC. So germ cell tumors on FNA have the sheet-like appearance or this kind of a tigeroid background, or these cells on the cytology cytospin preparations of pleural fluid that we aspirate. These blebbing with nucleoli, small clusters, this cytoplasmic vacuolation you might get. So all these are features of germ cell tumors in the mediastinum. So this is a very good paper. I have taken that image of thymomas from this paper, thymus tumors from this paper. You can go ahead. This is very good, and the most common things that you're going to encounter as a pathology resident are thymus tumors, and of course then lung, and then comes the ganglia associated tumors.